Shalom. All praises, glory, and honor unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Rakakwadash. Yahweh being the name of the Heavenly Father, the creator of heaven and earth, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, the God which the scriptures speak of. Yahushai is only begotten Son, which the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, and the Rakakwadash, which is the Holy Spirit. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well, pushing this 100% truth of the gospel, helping to wake up and to seal the elect of the nation of Israel. And salutations to your sincere Akim that are pushing this gospel in righteousness and sincerity, risking your lives and your freedom to do so. Alright, so what we're going to go into today is reading the Psalm 17th chapter. Where it's basically where it goes into so okay, let me look for it. Here it is. Look at Psalm 17 verse 9. From the let me start from let's start from verse 13. The book of Psalm 17 verse 13. Arise, O Yahweh, disappoint him, cast him down, deliver my soul from the wicked, which is thy sword, from men which are thine hand, O Yahweh, from men of the world which have their portion on this life, and whose belly thou fillest with thy hid treasure. They are full of children, and leave the rest of their substance to their babes. Continue. As for me, I will behold thy face in righteousness. I shall be satisfied when I awake with thy likeness. And this is what King David has said. He was saying concerning, the wicked of this world, Esau, Edom, which is the wicked, which we always tell you that Esau is the Most High sword on the left hand side. And what this passage, this precept made me realize is that the prophets, they knew that they were going to be here during the captivity of the Neo-Babylonian Empire, or the modern day Babylon, or Babylon the Great, or the daughter of Babylon. The scripture, however you want to refer to it. But this modern kingdom that we're in right now, these times that we're in right now, or I should say that the prophets, they knew that they would be around prophesying in the last days. Because in majority of the Psalms of David, it was Psalms asking for the Most High for mercy, and asking the Most High for his protection, asking the Most High to defend him because of these times that he knew that he would be reincarnated into. And the hidden, speaking of his King David, because during the time when King David was in rulership, he had all the wicked, he had all the nations under his subjection. They were under his rule, under his foot, so under his thumb. He did not have to fear any of these nations. He did not have to fear any of these people. So why did he write so many psalms concerning, the Most High having mercy on him and protecting him and defending him in during his times of trouble? Now I will say this, that during the time when he was running away from Saul, and during the time when he was in hiding from Absalom, he did write a few psalms concerning that and how the Most High should protect him. But most of the psalms that he really had written, especially this one in Psalm 17, this is talking about the future prophecy, because we know through the Spirit, that King David, as a man of the Lord, as a man after the Most High's heart, he was a prophet of Yahweh Yahushai. And as a prophet, he prophesied, and he knew that during these last days that he would come back here again, in that reincarnation, which is basically back in the flesh. So you know that he would be back in the flesh here again, prophesying against this kingdom, and that he would be at the bottom, and Esau, Edom, the wicked, which is the Most High sword, would be at the top. And all the prophets, they knew this, because King David's son, or I should say that the Lord of, let me just put it this way, Solomon, which is Yahushua in the reincarnation, during the time that Yahushua spent as King David's son, he also said this. How did it go again? I have seen servants on horseback. Yes, I can't remember how it went. I've seen princes. Let me just type it this way. That should be in the book of Ecclesiastes. Here it is. The book of Ecclesiastes chapter 10 and verse 7, and it reads, I have seen servants upon horses and princes walking as servants upon the earth. This is talking about, the thing that we're currently in right now. The servants being Esau, Edom, they are in the high place, they are on that horseback. Basically, they're in a position of authority over the princes of the earth, which are the Israelites, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. And these people, King David and King Solomon and all the other prophets, they knew that they would be back here during this time. During the time when Esau Edom would be in rulership and he would have their people, which are Israelites, under subjection, which proves that reincarnation was common knowledge among our people during that time. They knew that they would be back that they would come back in the line of their fathers. They knew that they would be back during this time, to see the final captivity. That they knew that they would live through the final captivity, in different bodies than the ones that they were in when they made all these prophecies. And in fact, the Most High himself even told two of the prophets, that is the prophet Daniel and the prophet John the Revelator, that they would have to come back here again, to prophesy against the nations and against the peoples, against nations and peoples, prophesy, in a different part of the world. And that is through that reincarnation, through that being back in the flesh, in the lines of their descendants. So let me go to the first one in the book of Daniel chapter 12. I believe that's the 10th chapter. Okay, that's not the 10th chapter, is the 13th chapter. So this is the book of Daniel chapter 12 verse 13. But go thy way till the end be, for thou shalt rest and stand in thy lots at the end of days. The end of the days. And the end of the days is right now. The times that we're in, this is the end of the days. And for Daniel, as a man of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, he's back here again, prophesying in the highways and byways of Babylon the Great, because that is a fulfillment of prophecy. Of course, we do not know who exactly that prophet, who exactly is Daniel in the reincarnation, but we know through the spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, through this wisdom that he has given us, that one of these brothers that are out there in the highways and byways of Babylon, one of the men that go out there, week in and week out and prophesy, that do all these videos and sit downs, that they were the prophet, that they were the prophet Daniel in the past, in the past, come back again to prophesy. And the same thing applies to the prophet John the Revelator. I forget how that scripture goes, where he says that he would come back again to prophesy against many peoples and nations and kindreds. I believe that in Revelation in 22nd chapter as well. It's like I can't remember where it is in. Let me hold on. Let me try and type it in the blue letter, because I can't remember exactly where it is in. I can't remember exactly how it goes. Okay, here it is. I found it. Barakata Yahweh Hashem Yahushai for that. So this is the book of Revelation chapter 10 verse 10. And I took the little book out of the angel's hand and ate it up, and it was in my mouth sweet as honey, and as soon as I had eaten it, in my belly was bitter. And the book that the prophet John the Revelator, it was this word, this truth. When basically he is symbolizing that he ingested the word in him, that he ingested the word, and the word went through it and nourished his body, because that's exactly what this word does when it goes into us. When we receive the word in its fullness, it nourishes us and it revives our spirit. It puts us in the right spirit, in the right state of mind. So this and the reason why I read this Revelation chapter 10 verse 10 is because of what comes next in the book of Revelation chapter 10 verse 11. And he said unto me, thou must prophesy again before many peoples and nations and tongues and kings. In other words, after he had gotten this word, after he had ingested the word, what did he do? He went out and the scripture said that you must prophesy again before many peoples and nations and tongues and kings, which is why we tell you and only the men of our people, the men of the nation of Israel, the men that have this truth that you must go out there and prophesy, that if the spirit is in you, that the Most High puts that spirit of prophecy in you, you have to go out there and prophesy. You have to go out there into the highways and byways and start doing lessons as well, so that you can edify the flock, you can feed the sheep, because that was the commandment that Yahushua gave to his disciples. What does the scripture say? Is he said it to the apostle Peter 3 times. Dost thou love me? Feed my sheep. Dost thou love me? Feed my sheep. Dost thou love me? Feed my sheep. And the sheep that he's talking about is the elect of the nation of Israel, and that cannot be stressed enough. To go out there and to feed the elect, through the foolishness of prophesying, so that the prophecies that are written up in this book can be fulfilled. When it says that words, the prophets will come out and prophesy. When it says that words, that's Ecclesiastes chapter 5 verse 1. The righteous man shall stand in great boldness against those that have afflicted him and made no account of his labors. So I'm going to go back to the topic at hand. How the prophets, they knew that they would come back here in Babylon the Great again and prophesy, that they would be back here in the last days through reincarnation. They knew that this was the time that they were in, that they would be in, which is why Yahushua said in the scriptures that what this generation, that all these things shall, I forgot how it goes, that say that what that this generation will not pass away before all these things happen. In other words, the generation that faced, the generation that was during the time of Yahushua, the generation that was there during the time of 70 AD is back here again through reincarnation. And we're about to go through the end of days, the fulfillment of all the prophecies that are written up in this book. And it is that same generation that we're in right now that would see the kingdom, see the kingdom of heaven, see the kingdom of Yahweh Yahushai. And it's not going to jump onto the next generation, because this is it. Through the Spirit, we believe that the Yahushai and our salvation could come in next year. Lord willing. I'm at the one Ratazah, it comes in next year. But we know that this is it. This is the last time, as the scripture said. This is the signs have already come out to show that this is the last time. And during this last time, it is prophesied that the prophets would be out there in the highways and byways prophesying, bringing out these scriptures, because even the prophets, they themselves knew that they would be here in the last days, because the Most High revealed it to them that they would be here in the last days, prophesying against let me go to that Jeremiah chapter 28 verse 8. That was the reason why I paused, because I was trying to quote that. So this is the book of Jeremiah chapter 28 verse 8. The prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesied both against many countries and against great kingdoms, of war and of evil and of pestilence. And then you also get another one, because the scripture says that the spirits of the prophets are subject unto the prophets. And as the apostle Gabriel brought out, subject means under rule. So the spirit of the prophets are under the rule of the self-same prophets, because they are the same people. And even though they change, even though the bodies change, it is still the same spirit that is in them. And that is the spirit of what? Prophecy. That is the spirit of prophecy, which is what? The testimony of Yahushai. So I'm trying to get that. Okay, here it is. 1 Corinthians chapter 14 verse 32. And the spirits of the prophets are subject to the prophets. And I'm just going to end it there. I just wanted to bring out this little thing, concerning the prophets and them knowing that they were going to be back here again, I hope through the spirit that you brothers were edified. All praises, glory, and honor unto Yahweh, Bahasham Yahushai, Bahasham Rakah Kwadash. Shalom.